Hi, I'm Chuck Connerly. I'm director of the School of Urban and Regional Planning. These are videos that you're about to watch that were made in a class that I teach called Community Development in the Upper Midwest. And in that class, we focus on various communities throughout the state of Iowa and try to make a difference in those communities. This year, we were very fortunate to be able to work in Columbus Junction. We've been interested in Columbus Junction, and we've had students work there for many, many years, and we had a chance to go back this year. And particularly, we wanted to help tell the story about the Hispanic community in Columbus Junction. As many people know, Columbus Junction is going to be celebrating its sesquicentennial in 2024. That's 5 years from now, but people are already beginning to get ready for that. If you look back to 1974, when the community celebrated its centennial, it was a reflection of the community that had existed there for a long period of time. Well, there's been a lot of changes that have taken place in Columbus Junction since then, particularly changes around one of the major industries in town, meatpacking. In the 1970s, the major meatpacking plant was Rath Meatpacking. They went out of business, both in Columbus Junction and in Waterloo, in the midst of the Iowa farm crisis, in this case in 1984. Columbus Junction was devastated by that. Many, many people were thrown out of work. Along came a new upstart meatpacking company called IBP, which established a plant in 1986. Later that plant was bought out by Tyson's, and it continues to this day. One of the major differences that has had a huge impact in Columbus Junction has been the recruitment of labor to work in the factory from Texas and California, people of Hispanic origin. As they moved in, the dynamics and the dimensions of the community began to change quite a bit. And so today, the community of Columbus Junction is one of the most diverse communities in the state of Iowa, not only with many, many Hispanic heritage residents, but also with people who come from or are descended from people who come from the Chin province of Burma. In these videos, we are trying to celebrate the Hispanic experience in Columbus Junction. And what our students who made these films and interviewed the people that you see in this film have discovered, I think you'll see in the films, and I don't want to say too much, is that there is an impressive community that exists in Columbus Junction. People who support each other, people who care about their community, people who love their community. This is a new direction, probably a direction that was not envisioned in 1974. But we think now as the community moves towards its sesquicentennial, it's an important part of the community story. And our students and we at the University of Iowa are very proud to tell it.
Changes that I've seen in Columbus Junction has changed a lot. We've always been, in my years, we were always very dependent on the Rath packing plant. It was a very good union jobs that paid really good money. And when that plant closed, it left a lot of people trying to figure out what they were going to do next. When IBP came in and purchased and fixed it up, it meant a whole new influx of folks that came from all around, because they were, I remember at the time they were going through Texas and the South, recruiting people to come up. Well, it's more manufacturing. You had your Rath, your packing plants, but then you had a canning factory, and you had a lot more businesses downtown. And I'll be the first to say that, thank goodness for the Hispanic population that came in, because it saved downtown.
I first arrived to Columbus Junction, it was around in 1994, right? And when we arrived, there still wasn't a lot of Latinx people there, and there weren't any Mexican stores, right? it was really hard to find ingredients to cook the food that we ate at home. It was hard to just even purchase things that we use in our everyday home that you can't find per se at another store like Walmart. But then around that time, a lot more Latinx individuals started showing up, and they started opening up Mexican stores. And now I think we have three Mexican stores just in the Main Street area. And within the past couple of years, due to the Burmese refugees that have been coming to Columbus Junction, we now have one or two Burmese stores, from what I recall the last time that I came to Columbus Junction. So there's been like quite a diverse in terms like stores, like different types of stores that meet the needs of the population that's there. And I really appreciate it. Also, there's like 4 restaurants just in that area, and there were 2 bakeries a couple years ago as well, 2 Mexican bakeries.
If you go to a lot of the small towns, go to Winfield, you go to Wapello, they don't have anything downtown anymore, where we still have a pretty vibrant downtown with businesses and all the stores, and that's because they understand the thought of doing local, of helping out people who are starting businesses here. I mean, there was a niche, and people came in, and they realized it, they created a business for it, and it was just boom.
Mi nombre es María del Carmen Castellanos. Yo soy de Yurecuaro, Michoacán, México. Viví en Los Ángeles, California por 26 años. Vine a Columbus de vacaciones y me quedé aquí.
¿Por qué vino de vacaciones? ¿Tenía familia aquí?
Mi hija, la mayor, vino a visitar a su suegra porque su suegra hace como unos 10 años se vino para acá y vino de vacaciones ella y le gustó. Tenía como 7 años que no la veía a ella y un día llegó a Los Ángeles y me dijo que quería que viniéramos con ella de vacaciones a visitarlos porque estaba muy bonito. Y pues sin pensarlo vinimos, encontramos este lugar desocupado y a mí pues todo el tiempo me ha gustado la cocina. En Los Ángeles yo tenía un restaurante, igual se llamaba Antojitos Carmen. Lo vendí y me vine para acá a poner aquí.
It feels like the town's doing better than it was. I don't know if that has anything to do with Bugsuither like being a big business here in town now, but it feels like we're doing kind of better. There's some Burmese businesses downtown now that, they weren't there before. So they're obviously, starting businesses, and I hope that they're striving, and I hope that they're benefiting, and everybody's trying to help out.
I feel like every kind of like town wants a big population, wants to keep growing. Mm-hmm. So that's what I want to see Columbus as, like a growing town. Mm-hmm. It's really peaceful here, and it's a really nice community to have a family and just live here. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't mind starting a family here in the future.
En todos lados te conocen, le digo, ay, yo no sé, la gente me conoce a mí, yo no conozco a la gente, o yo no puedo acordar de tantísima gente, pero la gente sí se acuerda de mí. Y le digo, y me gusta se acuerdan y ay, la señora que cocina, sí, yo soy la que cocina.
It's always been something bad. They don't ever say, well, yeah, good job, Columbus. It's always, oh, they did it again, you know?
We tend to have a bad reputation for the school. It's really sad actually because we're such a diverse town. Most of those students are immigrants, so they're not very proficient in English. So it's really difficult to compare schools around here because of that. If you look at our staff, like 50% of them are bilingual. Our curriculum has changed a bit. Like in English class, we began reading stories from immigrant point of views and things like that. I think that gets kids to get more involved in school rather than if we were always reading about white culture.
Me gustaría de alguna manera poder colaborar para que el pueblo creciera. Yo me imagino como las muchachas, las jovencitas, que hubiera algo más donde pudieran entretenerse en algo productivo, sería genial.
Actor Joseph Smollett maintains that charges against his client in the Cooktown grand jury are not true. Mark Arago spoke to NBC's Access.
Myron got deported in 2009, so we lived in Mexico for a year, and my sisters and I, we all went to school over there, and it was so different. Columbus Junction might not be like the richest town, or we might not have the best funds for school, things like that. You go to those places and you see how they're struggling so much more than we are. We obviously didn't go because it was our choice, but when we came back, my mom didn't come back with us, so everybody in town was very supportive, and like they would come over and like cook us food when my dad was at work and things like that. So I'm very grateful for that. Columbus Junction has just always been supportive of everybody. It gives you a bigger understanding of what community is all about.
Vine a Columbus de vacaciones y me quedé aquí. Para mí me gusta mucho atender a la gente y que queden conformes, que queden a gusto conmigo y que a donde me ven me saludan, me conocen como la señora que cocina. Yo tengo recetas que traje de que yo hacía en California y que han venido a buscarlas hasta acá. Me conoce mucha gente por mi trabajo, porque mi trabajo es honrado, porque yo siempre les he dicho, un trabajo honrado, aunque sea barriendo, es bueno.
Everybody has their own definition of if they made it, you know? But to me, what I was really looking for was like recognition from where I'm from and to get people to know who I am, and I think I kind of accomplished that. And that's the thing, like I didn't go looking for like a big industry manager. Like my best friend is my manager, and he booked me my first headlining show, and you know, he got me in contact with all these people. So he did, all my friends did, Columbus Junction did, like when we do like the Latino festival here in town, like they let me perform on there, and I don't want to brag, but I had the biggest crowd with being on stage that day. Nobody else did, so it's, I think everybody in Columbus did, everybody played a part, and that's why I like it so much. I even dedicated like a whole album to Columbus. Yeah, that was my whole point, like when it got really serious and people started listening to me like in 20 other countries. Like I always said, I'm from Columbus Junction. I go to Iowa City and every show I do, I say I'm from Columbus Junction. I try to do my best to represent Columbus Junction in the best possible way I can. If people want to notice it, that's up to them, but yeah.
After high school, I'm going to go to Central College in Pella, and I'm going to study Spanish and Communications. Central College intrigued me because it reminded me a lot of Columbus Junction. When I went, everybody was very friendly, and that's how it is in Columbus Junction. It felt like home.
I definitely liked like small town Columbus Junction. I think that's why I'm not in like a rush to leave, because it's just, it feels like home.
Viví en Los Ángeles por 26 años. Los Ángeles es una vida muy diferente, muy ajetreada, muy correteada. Para nosotros es tranquilo, estamos a gusto, vivimos bien y descansados. Columbus es un pueblo chiquito, acogedor, porque venimos y ya no nos queremos ir.
Yeah, hey, gain a little bit of weight. That's what happens when you eat steak every other
That's been a question that has been lingering in my mind a lot, whether or not I will come back to Columbus Junction. It's going to be very difficult because it's so small and there might not be as much opportunity for jobs as I would want, but definitely, like, this is home and I have so many people here who have supported me. It's just very difficult.
And then this one was just graduation in high school of my kids. He is now has a PhD and is a head of a health unit at the university in Houston. This young man works here in town, and I don't know where these two gals are, but this is when they graduated. The parents wanted them to do well in school because, you know, they sacrificed everything to come up here and have their kids have a better life than what they had had. So there is discrimination in this lovely little town, but it's kind of under the table. Many people said to me when I first started, let them go back where they came from, of the same old thing. Why don't they learn English? And I tried to tell them, you work out at the plant for 10 hours every day and then go home and try to get a meal on a table, get your kid ready for school, and see then if you have time to come and concentrate and learn the language, which takes a great deal of concentration and effort. And some people who've never studied a language don't get that.
After the first year I was teaching, I applied to a position at Columbus. And I interviewed, and my experience was very interesting, to say the least. I did get the job offer, but I didn't accept because the salary was going to be lower than what I was getting paid as a teacher at that time. And the housing wasn't going to be as accessible. I felt like all my money was going to go to rent and bills. Mm-hmm. So I didn't end up accepting the position. And I felt bad because I knew that was my ultimate goal, but I wasn't going to be able to afford, like, living there. I had to pay school loans and rent and everything.
Well, again, I think it appears that, again, the battle that small towns are having is the draw of the larger metropolitan areas. I don't know whether people finally get to the point that they, you know, some of it is they go where the jobs are and where the housing are, and also roads and highways make a difference. But does there come a point in time where people don't want to be just part of a huge mix? They would like to have something smaller where, you know, you can walk up and down the street and know or recognize the people you're meeting. So if you want control over your life, I think you can have more control over your life in a setting like this than you can in a larger community. That's why I stayed. That's why I wanted to be here.
What brought me to Columbus Junction?
My kids. I just wanted a better future for my children. We moved here from Brooklyn, New York. Just knowing that my kids were gonna have a better future here, a better chance.
But like half my life is here. Like my real, like, you know, finding yourself type of thing is here. Like I always said, I'm from Columbus Junction. I go to Iowa City and every show I do, I say I'm from Columbus Junction. You know, and maybe I don't appreciate it as much, and I don't know what it is, but I try to do my best to represent Columbus Junction in the best possible way I can. If people want to notice it, that's up to them, but...
¿Por qué no hay tanta delincuencia? Porque el pueblo está chiquito y más fácil de controlarlo. En una ciudad más grande no me gusta, algo así es bonito, el ambiente, la escuela para que vayan a estudiar, sí, pero para vivir me gusta.
Columbus Junction will always be home. I actually moved away for a year. My mom got deported in 2009, so we lived in Mexico for a year. It really gives you a sense of awareness how, although Columbus Junction might not be like the richest town, or we might not have the best funds for school, things like that, you go to those places and you see how they're struggling so much more than we are, and it just makes you grateful for the people around us. Like, Columbus Junction has just always been supportive of everybody.
What do I want to see in the future from Columbus Junction? Well, certainly it would be nice to see a growth, you know. I feel like Columbus Junction and the aspect of diversity is really diverse, and I like diversity. I'm really fond of that idea of having a more, you know, broader community, more mixed communities. So Columbus Junction is not missing anything out of that.
Me gustaría de alguna manera poder colaborar para que el pueblo creciera. De alguna manera sí me gustaría hacer un proyecto o algo donde pudiéramos colaborar para que el pueblito creciera. Sería mejor.
Is there a message you would like to give to the students of today?
I guess it would be have a goal and a dream and work hard at it. Don't give up.